Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Anna Smith, a leadership strategist, mindset architect, and the chief learning and well-being officer of Bright Flare Performance Solution. For more than 25 years, Anna has helped leaders and teams at companies like Microsoft, GE, HP, and American Express navigate transformation, elevate performance, and protect their well-being in high pressure environments. She's also a two times TEDx speaker and the author of Change, Insights into Self-Empowerment and Mindset Intelligence, which is transform your mindset, transform your life. Today, we're going to explore attention management, burnout, leadership under pressure, reinvention, and what it actually means to thrive beyond success. Anna, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. And I've been so much looking forward to this conversation. The folks that first enter a career or are defining themselves into the workplace, whatever it might be, whether entrepreneurship or going into working for an organization or a startup, etc., are definitely very close to my heart. So thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Well, thank you, Anna. And yes, I want you to take us back, right? Before becoming the mindset architect, what originally drew you into leadership and performance development?
This is such an important question and defining question for me in my life because as I was, being a teenager, one of the biggest of curiosity for me was why are some people so happy and so fulfilled in whatever it is that they do in their job, in their work. I started to pay attention to this. Don't ask me why, but that was one of the questions in my mind that took me into the career, the undergrad that I did on organizational psychology, and then going into my first job at American Express. And the most important thing for me was how can I, from the role that I have, improve or optimize or uh, help anyone that is part of an organization, and I've been part of organizations for many years, so that they are more fulfilled, they're happier, they really bring their best because the stakes are very high, the level of accountability is very high, the expectations are very high, and from my angle, from my organizational psychology, what are some of the things that I can help them with? So that was a little bit of a longer answer, but I wanted to uh, also say that the more I have been involved in this space, in this world for decades now, and have had an opportunity to meet amazing leaders and not so amazing leaders as well, I can tell you that there's a lot of room for improvement out there.
All right. Well, thank you, Anna. And yes, looking back at yourself, right, in your 20s, basically, because that's the sole purpose of my podcast, actually. So, in your 20s, what mindset patterns were you operating from that you later, had to unlearn?
This is a very powerful question because
Mhm.
one of them that I remember to this day is the expectations that everybody had about me, whether it was my peers, my friends, certainly my family, and the ones that I had for myself. We are very, very tough critics of ourselves. We are probably our toughest critics all the time. And I think one of the things that it took me a while to identify, and I call it alignment, is the expectations that I have for myself versus the alignment with everybody else's expectations. If you live or plan your life around everybody else's mindsets or expectations or guidelines, etc., it's going to, I can anticipate that the result is going to be a frustration. There's going to be missing pieces. It's like looking at a map that is not yours. So think and recap about the things that are really important to you, things that you love doing, things that pay for the things that you love, that what you're doing, things that the world needs, and definitely things that are a passion of yours. So there's a combination, and this is a model that has been going on for many years. It's called Ikigai. It's a Japanese framework, but I would strongly recommend it if you are starting or if you are stuck. Like, where do I get my bearings? How do I think about this? So Ikigai can be a really powerful way to gain some clarity. Do the exercise, take your time, and then start to strategize from there.
Mm. Wow. All right. So it's about spending more time with yourself, right? And making decisions that you actually want to make, right? Not decisions based off external validation, right? Making decisions you actually want for yourself. That way it's you become happier, right? You know that this is what you want for yourself. And like you said, if you're making a decision because of other people instead of yourself, it usually ends disastrous, right? So you would not be happy, right?
Yeah, incomplete. And one of the things, because there's always your parents, your friends, uncles, what have you, your peers, they always, as you start to develop your own path, one of the things that one of my very early bosses, very early managers gave me, which I thought was invaluable, was to put together my own board of directors. And what
Mm,
that means, Joy, is basically figuring out what people you want in that particular group at a certain period of time in your life. It's like a group of mentors, if you may, where you can tell them, this is what I'm after. I'm after some guidance, maybe around somebody in your family or one of your peers or what have you that is very, very good with compensation and benefits,
mm,
or with personal finances, somebody that is very good at strategy, somebody that
mm,
had a startup and has had all the scars to prove it, and the mistakes and learnings from that, etc. Whomever you decide, because it's always interesting and relevant. You're going to make the decision that you want, but it may be one of your parents, it may be one of your brothers or your sisters, etc. It's really up to what you need in that board of directors. And you're going to have different boards of directors as you evolve in your life and your career.
okay.
But it's
Mm,
always that um, additional perspective or external perspective. Remember that we have a like the Yohari window, which is another very interesting concept of the different aspects. If you look at a window or yourself through a window, there is the concept basically talks about there is one way, which is behind you. There's no way that you can see that. So there are things that I have in my, for example, in my leadership style, etc., that I don't have purview to. Only people that are receiving that are the ones who will know. So it's
mm,
important to have people that tell you that care, that are, that have your trust, and you decide from the input that they give you what fits into your plan, etc., and that's how you can continue and move forward.
mm. All right. Okay. So thank you, Arno. Now I want us to talk on, mindset intelligence, right? And human performance, basically. You coined the term, mindset intelligence. So, what exactly does that mean, and why is it becoming so important today?
This is such a powerful aspect because I always my mind, probably because of my training and my background in corporations, I needed to have a way to explain the approach that I was going to bring in a organizational development initiative or what have you. So rather than verbiage, or just verbiage, one of the ways that has always been very useful for me to understand these frameworks, ABC, 1, 2, 3, acronyms, etc. They help you and your brain and the people that are receiving the information to identify what that means in a shorter and faster and clearer way. So having said that, that's where I'm coming from because that may be useful for others that might be and will be listening to the episode because that helps you summarize your thinking in different ways that you see fit, and obviously for others. So the term mindset intelligence came for me in terms of there is a part of what potential is that we're not addressing. So very specifically, mindset intelligence is a combination, is two things. It's the potential that we have that resides between our subconscious and our conscious
Mm,
minds. And in tangible terms, that is probably a little bit, conceptual. And okay, Anna, tell me, dissect this for me, and
mm,
how do I translate this into my day to day? Well, the
mm,
thing about this is to be able to understand, and psychology deals a lot with behavior and behavioral change, whether it's individual, whether it's organizational, etc. So when we talk about mindset intelligence, what I wanted to provide was a way to understand and therefore change behavior in an organization for better. So, excuse me, what this means is you have like peeling an onion, peeling the different layers of an onion, you go back and think, okay, why do we behave the way we behave? We'll behave differently. The reason is that our behaviors come and reside in our subconscious. They are born from very specifically our beliefs. Our beliefs are
mm,
formed when we are 0 to 7 years of age, give or take, and these are formed from the people around us. So if in your family, for example, they always talked about how difficult it is to make money, to keep money, only people that are maybe doing illegal things have a lot of money, etc. So the belief that resides in you circumstantially, just because of what you're listening to in that age, in that stage of your life, you think that having money is not a good thing because of this particular history, for example. And therefore that reflects in your thoughts, and that reflects in your emotions, and that reflects in your behavior. So it becomes a circuit that you have to, when you want to debunk that type of belief, for example, around money, you have to understand what it is first and then debunk it. And the way to debunk it, which I is one of the ways that I think is typically something very useful and very practical to have is, let's say that we're talking about money. So only people who do illegal things have a lot of money. And the
mm,
question to ask is this true? So what's the evidence of that? Is this true? Of course it's not true. Okay, so if this is not true, the way I believe about money is incorrect. That I have believed it's correct. It's incorrect. So I
mm,
have to open that, and it's a way to bring it to the surface and deal with it. It's a little bit more steps and work around coaching, etc. But that's how you debunk a belief that is not true. that basically promotes your thoughts. Your thoughts promote your emotions, and your emotions promote your behavior. So hopefully that is useful for folks to understand sometimes why, especially in this day and age, Joy, I think a lot about the complications of Gen Zs
Right.
finding their first job, for example, and they're going mad. Like, what? I mean, I did everything that they told me. I went to school, I get the grades, I finished college, and now I'm not finding a job. What is going on? Is it me because I am not valuable enough? I am not worthy enough. I am not pretty enough or beautiful enough or only God knows what. So this is when our beliefs that are limiting beliefs click and then limit us from doing things that are more daring, etc. So long-winded answer, Joy, but hopefully it provides a little bit more clarity on why this aspect of ours, mindset intelligence, can be used once you understand it for good and to improve, or to continue being limited if you don't know about it.
All right. Wow. Thank you, Anna.
Of course.
Personally, I'm learning a lot, I would say, especially when you mentioned, the Gen Z and the problem of getting their first job, right? Because personally, I'm a Gen Z, so I would say I'm
It's
learning a lot. All
it is
right.
a challenge. It is a challenge,
Mm,
and hopefully for obviously your listeners,
mm,
uh take a step back, do the exercise that I told you guys about the ikigai. uh, the the algorithms are not working in the favor of job seekers. You have to
mm,
be more creative in how you get to the people that you want in those organizations. And if at any given point, Joy, you want us to have another conversation and just talk specifically about that,
mm,
I'll be happy to come back and talk about it. I coach right now. I have two or three clients that are Gen Zs, and I'm learning a
mm,
lot as well from them. I typically coach senior executives
mm,
or founders, if you may, but everybody has a different set of values that bring to the table. It's just a matter of it's almost like speaking the language of the algorithm of the
right.
network formulation, what have you. That sometimes nobody teaches you that. That's why if you want, happy to come back and we'll have that conversation.
Definitely. I would love that actually. I would love for us to, talk about that. So that would be like
Absolutely,
that would be like a 2.0 actually. So right.
absolutely happy to.
Okay, so yes, and before I ask my final question, I want us to touch on burnout, right?
Yes.
Many high achievers, they look successful externally, but they feel exhausted internally. So why does burnout often, hide behind achievement?
Yes, that is a truism for sure. And
Mm,
one of the ways, and I love to bring so to when we use these larger words or very very big concepts like burnout, I always like to bring the possibility of an explanation or of peeling the concept a little bit. And this is basically generated from in connection to work. So stress sustained over a considerable period of time is what constitutes or develops into burnout. And
mm,
it may be schoolwork, it may be work, it may be looking for a job, etc., etc. But stress is good because it helps us as humans to move and go and do. The problem is when we decide that, and this is all in our subconscious. I will go back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. When I think that if I don't look busy, I am going to be at fault. My boss is going
mm,
to think that I am not giving my best. I'm not giving the max, etc. And if I don't answer an email over the weekend, God forbid, that is a very bad
mm,
idea. So
right,
it is very important, and you said it in your question, Joy, is you have to take care of yourself first,
right,
and it's important to understand each one of us. I'll give you guys a quick example, which I think applies to all of us, independently of your level or your role or how many people or how many millions or billions you manage. Think of it this way. We have, so the day basically it has 24 hours, right? It's only 24 hours a day. Usually we work for 8 hours. 8 hours are for sleeping and 8 hours are for our personal, everything else, our personal, our family, our friends, etc., etc. So just a very arbitrary 888, division. If you take only, if you take only the sleep portion and you improve on your sleep, the amount of hours, the quality of
mm,
your sleep, uh, and do this in a very disciplined way. There's
mm,
no such thing as I only need 4 hours in a day to of sleep. It's really not necessarily. I mean, there's a few people that that do that, but
mm,
what happens during sleep is there's two major, and there's other things, but there's two major areas that I would like to highlight during sleep. One, that's when memories are really formulated in our brain. So if we don't sleep well, then the next day, oh, I wonder why if I studied yesterday all day, nothing stuck, nothing really stick to my brain. Well, it's because you probably slept very poorly. One, that's one. Number two, the other big one is during sleep time, our brain does the depuration of toxins and does all of the cleaning of the house in our brain. So every night that you lose, toxins keep staying behind in your brain that should
mm,
have been exited from your body. So if you just mind your sleep, you would be ahead of a lot of people. That would be a huge,
mm,
huge value add. One last recommendation on this, and again, sleep can be a full episode, I kid you not, is don't sleep with your phone in your room.
mm.
I know, panic mode for everybody, panic mode, but
Right.
not even. I have a one of my clients is a doctor. He's a neurosurgeon. Not even he sleeps with his phone anymore in his room. Why?
Mm,
Because it has been proven that the having the mobile, whether it's in your nightstand, whether it's if you have it with you in your person, like in your pocket or in your jacket, etc., that in itself uses part of your cognitive power. So if your cognitive power is 100 every day, the phone is sucking part of that battery. Imagine.
mm,
So you don't want to use it in that. Use it in other much more valuable things. So that would be my 2 cents on this last point, Joy.
mm. All right. Well, thank you, Anna. So basically, you're telling us to prioritize our health, right? We could, work and also prioritize our health. For example, sleep, right? Sleep is very important. I mean, it
Mm,
just helps regulate your nervous system, especially when you have enough, you get enough rest, right? It helps you be more productive and helps you just live a better and healthier life, basically. So yes,
ex-
and right. All right. So
exactly.
Anna, finally, I just want you to talk to someone out there, specifically young adults in their 20s, right? So for people in their 20s trying to build their future, how do they avoid how do they avoid tying their entire identity to productivity?
Wow, this is a very powerful question, Joy. I think it's deciding and defining what's important to them. We'll have to work, we'll have to produce, if you may, because we all want to be independent adults, and independence has a cost, and the cost is usually money. So first, I would recommend that they do the Ikigai exercise that I mentioned before. It basically is going to give you your sweet spot, right? What it's a combination of your vocation, your passion, what's needed in the world, and what you're very good at doing. And it's going to give you a lot of value there and then, especially sitting down and doing that. The other big aspect is do an analysis of how you're feeling, what are the habits that you have on a day-to-day basis. And I'll give you a quick example. If you want to be successful in life, you have to have good habits.
Mm,
And we become the habits that we have. I'll give you a quick one. If I'm looking for a job and I wake up at, for example, 11 a.m., then
mm,
it is very difficult to extract the most of the day getting up at 11 o'clock. So put your alarm clock, plan your day. How many hours are you going to do for looking for a job? But be very sure that they're including preparation, that you're including strategy, putting together your board of directors, etc. But you have to be very clear on what it is that you want and that you need. It's very, very difficult to achieve something if you don't know what the outcome is of that, right? It's changing
right.
the narrative. So if what you want is a job, what you want is to start to generate a startup, whatever it is, you have to think a little bit and clarify what you need. Okay?
Mm. Right. Okay. All right. So yes, thank you, Arna. This has been such an amazing conversation, and I would love for us to, do a deep dive some other time. Right. And yes,
It will be my
finally.
pleasure.
All right. So thank you, Anna. And yes, before you go, where can listeners, get to learn more about you and also connect with you?
Well, definitely on LinkedIn, Anna Smith Talent Strategies. They can find me there. They can find my books in Amazon, basically. But I have
Mm.
everything there. Or if they want to go to our website at brighthair.com, they can also contact and reach out to us there and then. We have lots of not only information, but I would say ways to assess yourself, um, different pieces, and hopefully resources that are valuable and useful for all of you. Thank you so much,
All
Joy.
right. All right. Thank you, Anna. And yes, to my listeners, thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone who you think might need this, and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Once again, thank you, Anna, and do have a wonderful day ahead of you.
Thank you for you as well. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for listening in.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
YouTube.